Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Marisa Bludorn. I am your host, and welcome to Monday's Motivational Moments with Marisa. We are kind of in two areas today. We are in Motivational Moments with Marisa as well as in the Author's Corner. And so I'm super excited to have with me today visionary, best-selling, number one best-selling author, Deborah Frye. And we are so blessed. This woman is blessed because she has a beautiful partner with her husband, Michael Fry. He is taking center stage and owning it with us tonight. And we are talking about her recently released best number one best-selling book. And what is that, Deborah? What's the name of that book?
The name, well, thank you so much for having me this evening, first of all. The name of the amazing book is Grief Through His Eyes, subtitle Seeing Grief from His Point of View.
Oh my God. I just, when you really think about it, it's just like last night, I had live with me the women veterans. And one thing that we don't talk about, again, another topic that we don't cover that is in high need is that men have emotions and feelings too. And one thing that was always a reminder in me in my really mid 20s, TD Jakes did a book called He Motions, did a whole platform on He
Mhm,
Motions, bringing
mhm.
to our awareness that men have emotions, that they have feelings, that they're not always made of steel, but they're made of flesh and bone, just like women are. And so you didn't count it robbery to give the men a voice. And I can remember this is not your first time being on with us. I can remember having all the authors on with you and how they were so thankful for you for coordinating and putting this all together. How did you even get to this point? What made you really begin to? You're a woman, so what made you think about the guys?
Yeah, God gave it to me. God gave it to me over 2 years ago, but I didn't mess with it because I didn't feel like I was qualified for it. So I put
Yep.
myself in some training and I did anthologies with other visionaries, and I learned and I took some pointers. And once God woke me up the end of last year, October of last year, in the middle of the night with the actual layout of the book, the vision, bringing all of the men to the table, how I was to put it together. That is when I received my green light to go. And that's when I started, and I started looking for men. Of course, my husband was my number one recruiter, my recruitee. So, but after that, once I put it out to the public, the men started coming. Some reluctantly, some willingly, and that's how I ended up with 14 amazing men who were supposed to be in this book.
Wow, wow, wow. And just like I said backstage, so we're going to talk about that, is you first went to your husband.
Hmm.
That's not always the case, and I'm not going to say that it's not the norm or it's not this. I'm not going to label it, but we're going to talk about it. Is that
Hmm.
you were able to go to your husband, and he, what I always say, is cooperated. He
Right.
came on board. He came
Yes.
on board. And so, hubby Michael, how did you feel about this when she came to you and started saying to you, "Hey, babe, I really want to do this." What's your thoughts?
Well, Marissa, thank you so much for having me on today. Um, wow, when she first pitched it to me, I had all kinds of thoughts that went through my head because I said, well, how are you going to get the men to talk? You know, they're not going men don't want to talk about stuff. They're not, they're closed mouthed and closed mind about things. They don't want to say anything, and then she was like, when she told me that the Lord told her that this was the I was like, well, hey, I can't argue with that. We're gonna have to go with this. So then she says, and you're gonna be in the book too. And I'm like, oh boy. I'm
Aw,
so glad that
aw.
I did though, because it with me doing it, it tells me that not only did I have a story to tell, but a lot of men have a story to tell. And they're just looking for a platform to be able to tell it.
Yeah, I think that we're all looking for a safe place to release, right? We're always looking for a safe place where it's not going to bite us back. It's not going to make us feel, you know, less than what we already feel. We already feel bad about certain situations. And the tough conversations are the conversations where we feel kind of low already. We don't really like it. We don't like, we're not proud of that decision, or we're not proud of what happened to us, even if it's not our fault. And so having that safe space, I think is so critically important. And I have to say, as a woman, there is nothing greater than to have your husband to support you. I mean, that
Yes.
is
Yes.
that's everything. That's the everything. So share about how that made you feel when, well, you already know him, but how did that make you feel to have him come along and participate, not just support, because support
Yes.
is great. We want that, but to
Right.
part, like I like the whole Bonnie to my Clyde to my Bonnie thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
share.
Michael is my number one supporter. He's always been my number one supporter. Even when I was trying to do things that he know, honey, we cannot do this. You cannot quit your job and do this. But he allowed me to make those mistakes. And then when it was enough, he said, "Okay, we got to get back on track." So he was my number one supporter. He was my sound voice. I call him my pusher and I'm his puller. He's pushing me into things and I pull him into things. So we kind of balance each other out. I'm the butterfly in the room. He's the one that likes to stand back and be watchful. That's his nature. So we tend to bounce off of each other, and it is a beautiful balance.
It is. It is a beautiful balance. And it gives the relationship rest, right?
Yes,
It gives it peace. It gives
Yeah.
you the opportunity to really value and cherish the treasures of having a partner. Because
right.
that's what it's about, is to be able to have someone that you can share in the joys. And just like you said, even when you're not right, like
That's
even when you're
right.
not right, it does not have to be hostile.
Right.
It doesn't. It's called accountability. Accountability does not have
Yeah,
to be rough.
accountability, and it's called grace. It's called grace.
Yeah.
Mercy too. Grace and
Man,
mercy.
yes, grace and mercy. Michael has thrown the grace and mercy blanket on me many a days.
Likewise.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's part of being a visionary, right? So
yeah,
it's part of being
yeah.
a visionary, that you want to go out and you want to do it, and just like you said, being able to be grounded, when it's needed to be grounded. And so, hey, Brian Leonard he's watching us. Hey,
Awesome. Hey,
Brian.
Brian. Awesome.
Thank you for chiming in. And so, talk to us about the substance of the book, the project itself. Share a little bit about the journey, because we are live in the author's corner. So, we want to give them some tidbits into, if someone wanted to think about either working with you, doing their own project, or anything like that, any lessons learned or words of wisdom as an anthologist.
Yes. As an anthologist, wow, that's the first time I've heard that one. As an anthologist, a visionary, which is this is my first go around. But it was working with the man was wonderful. They took my leadership. I listened to their ideals to bounce off of letting them be a part of what we were doing. We had regular Zoom meetings to where we could all gel together and bond together. Um, I gave them assignments to do, which they had to do certain things, and they did well, meeting deadlines and that kind of thing. So, my thing is to get somebody who's coachable, and if you need a coach, get a coach. So just provide yourself with all that you need so that you're able and ready to coach others. And those lanes that I'm not proficient in, when people are ready to do something, I pitch it off to the next person that is proficient in that area. And that way we all win. Nobody is lacking anything. We all win, and we're all collaborating as one to help one another.
Yeah. And one of the things you said earlier that's critical too is the fact that you said you were a co-writer, so you were a co-author or a contributing author in many projects before
Right.
branching out to your own. So you understood pretty much the cycle and the process. You also understood from the contributing author's position, you also understood too what authors needed that
Yes,
perhaps you got with other anthologists, or sometimes
absolutely.
they didn't provide it. So
Hmm.
that was great as well. So Michael, as a contributing author, share about your experience in this whole journey.
Wow, it was just so surreal. Uh, I was a little reluctant to do it, but how could I say no? I mean, I I couldn't say no. But I had a lot to say. I had a lot more to say than I thought. And when I sat down and started putting my thoughts on the paper, it just flowed. It just flowed naturally, because something that's real to you, something that's true, something that's um, a life changing event. If you think about it and put it down on paper, it'll flow naturally. So I enjoyed being part of this anthology. I enjoyed the camaraderie between me and the other authors. Um, we all gel together. There's no animosity between any of us. We all are pulling for one another. So it was just a great, great experience.
And what a beautiful group. I mean, the
Oh,
abundance
yes.
of pictures that you have out there on social media, um,
Yes.
your journey, the different book signings that you have
Hmm.
done, just look like you
Yeah.
just naturally gelled, like you said. Even even being able to just talk to the gentleman one on one and just reaching
Hmm.
out to them past couple of days, just reaching out to them, has been a treasure. I mean, they're on it. They got
Yes.
back to me. They responded to me.
Yeah.
They're real on it. And then when they shared their heart in the last interview, for the audience, if you go to YouTube, or if you go to my videos on Facebook, you can see the other interview. And then we have a whole lineup this week of interviews
That's awesome.
with the authors this week as well. And I'm looking forward to it because it's the grief through his eyes, but there's so much more to them that you're going to discover during these interviews, these
Oh, yes.
conversations that really are designed to inspire others, to help them to overcome,
Hmm.
to not go quietly into the night and give up. There is, what does it say? Weeping may endure for a night, but
But
joy
joy.
comes in
Yes.
the morning. If you
Oh,
don't give
yes.
up, can't quit, there's so much more for you. So, Deborah, share a little bit about your heart in regards to your passion. What part of it did you contribute to the body of work?
The body of work is I contributed to the coaching of them, uh stand on schedule, getting the chapters and things lined up. Of course I did write the what is it called, not the forward, but the reflection part. So I did write something in the book, but I wanted the book to be all about the men. I wanted to write as little as possible because I want all of the readers to see what the men were writing. So so I pitched the vision of the cover to my graphics person, and of course she gave me back 2-3 times more of the vision than what I had given to her. So, and that is the good thing about having people that is they're working in their craft and their passion and their skill, to give you back. You give them a bone, and they give you the meat and substance back on that bone. So it was a joy to do. It was a joy to do.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so, without giving your piece away, Michael, what do you focus your story on?
Well, my story is pretty much focused on workplace experience, um, kind of addressing the elephant in the room. Um, a
Any
lot of
title?
times people, during the workplace, it might not be things that are appropriate that are happening. but just for the sake of your job, nobody wants to say anything. So
Right.
and that goes from transcended from even my military career over to civilian realm. So
Mm,
my chapter is called Heartache to Healing, and it addresses some of those things and touches on things that will hopefully help somebody out of a situation.
wow.
Very
It's
good.
interesting. Your particular topic really aligns with what we're talking about this month in Own It. And so in Own It, we talk about life work spillover, or work life spillover. And what you're kind of addressing is something that we're bringing awareness to, is that
Hmm.
trauma and drama on one side or the other, whether it's at work,
That's
you are
good.
not cognizant of it, if you're not cognizant, if you're not fully aware of it and aware of its detrimental impact, you don't regulate. So you may
Yes.
trauma at work, you're stressed out, you're upset, you're angry. You go home, and where you should be more understanding and patient and normal, just normal, we're not even
Yeah.
asking extra, you're not, because you've been robbed of that because of the trauma and drama that's going on at the job. And we're talking about how you address that so that you're
Hmm.
aware of it and you don't mess up your marriage, especially with couples, right? They got that job is stressed out. Babe, you want to come home. I need your attention. I need your energy, but you suck
Hmm.
dry because work done messed you up. So
Yeah.
you can't get to your honey at home. So
Yeah.
it's real. It's
Yeah.
real. It's
Yeah.
workplace um, 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 trauma and drama. We have one of our contributing writers writes about workplace bullying. Bullying in the workplace. We don't talk about bullying as
Wow.
adults, but we are bullied. There's peer pressure as adults. And if
Yep.
you
Wow.
have not wrestled that in your adolescent stage of development, you will be wrestling that with that for the rest of your life. And
Absolutely.
it's so important for you to address that. So it's interesting that, see, God know
Wow. What magazine is that, Marissa?
what the Own It magazine.
The Own It magazine. Okay, okay. So, but it's not a particular
So
magazine under your umbrella.
yeah, it's oh no, it's the main. It's the life, career, business development. So it's Own It itself. And she
Okay.
does write in BTG. So we do kind of address some things in the BTG magazine too, and peer-to-peer bullying as well. But that's for our youth. But
Mm-hmm.
the same thing that our youth go through is the same thing that we go through, because the same kids, if they ain't get corrected,
They
are
adult.
adults now. So
Yeah.
if that behavior is not changed, why do we think all of a sudden, oh, presto magical, they're adults and now they're not going to bully? No,
Right.
bullying, we call it narcissism, but it's not. It's
Mm.
bullying. It's
Mm.
bullying. Don't be quick to say everything narcissistic. It's not. It's bullying. It's peer pressure. It's dominating. And it's controlling. And
Wow.
God forbid, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your boss. It could be your subordinate. If your subordinate has a strong enough personality, they can boss you upward, right? They can boss from below,
And
right?
Yeah.
Marissa, that kind of bullying is in every workplace.
You got that right.
You can't slight any place from that kind of attitude. It's in every workplace. I touch on it in my chapter, and there's stuff, this eye-opening stuff that people have no idea what happens, but reading my chapter, they'll get a better understanding.
Yeah. I had in one scenario in one organization where um, the individual would this I never seen such in my life. This individual, because the manager was going to meetings, this individual would take and pile up technology like equipment in front of the manager's door, So when the manager came back, that the manager had to move all that stuff out the door, out of the way of the door to get into his office. I never in my life experienced, and now I didn't have anything to do with it, but I witnessed it firsthand. That made me feel so uncomfortable because
Yeah.
now you didn't just do this behavior on your own, but you've incorporated me because of where my workspace is. I have to see that,
Mm-hmm.
and so that upset me, and that's trauma,
Yeah.
and that is we
Yeah.
associate
Grief.
grief. Yeah, we associate grief with just loss, like
Right.
death, but
Right.
death happens in any experience.
That's right.
Is in any experience. So I'm glad I did reach in to say, hey, what was your topic? Because grief comes in all different forms.
All
And
different
so
forms.
I'll segue to that because that's the work that you do, Deborah. So talk about grief counseling and all the stuff that you do, outside of just the anthology, but what have positioned you to be an authoritarian in helping guide them? Because not only being
Yeah.
an anthologist, but being, an expert or well informed and experienced, reliable source of
Right.
what that really entails and what grief really looks and feels like.
Right. Well, over the 23 years that I've been walking people over the bridge of grief, one of my introductory lines is to let them know that grief is not just about death. And a lot of times, like you said, that's what people think. It's a casket, it's a funeral, it's a repast, it's getting clothes ready to dress somebody. That is not all of grief. So, I had to explain to some of the guys because they were thinking, well, I don't have anything to talk about. And I would have to tell them, of course you do. Anything that brought you deep sadness or anything that, hard. So I gave them descriptions of different things that were grief, a hardship, loss of a job, this pandemic, loss of your income, different hurts on any job that you may have had. So self-shame, low self-esteem, being abused. So I had to kind of throw the net out there to let them know that there are far more grief topics than just death.
Right.
And that's how they got it to say, oh, okay, yes, I went through this as a child, or I had this trauma done to me as a child, or I grew up without my father. He's still alive, but I grieve
But
by not having him, and so on and so forth. I had a dad, but he was more like an uncle to me because he wasn't in my life. So,
right,
so I had to cast the net so that they can understand that they have a lot to share, a lot to talk about. And those were the men that I thought would have joined the anthology did not, but those that were purposed by God to be in the anthology, they came to the call. They came to the call.
they answered the call. Isn't that
They answered
interesting?
the call.
Tap that. It's interesting because we have, and that's why you got to be open. So if
Sure.
you're someone who wants to do something great, you can't be stuck and you cannot
Yes.
be narrow-minded because he says, "Don't behold, I will do a new thing."
New thing. And
Hey,
he
don't you?
did.
Can't you see it?
And he
Listen.
did. Oh my God.
So I always that's one thing I had to learn in business was like the one person you think can't pay you can pay you right away. It's the one
That's
person you
right.
think can pay you can't pay.
That's right.
So you don't get caught up. You
Yeah.
just trust him. You just
Yeah. I
really really trust him.
I found myself, I didn't get offended when people said no. And I know their life. I know that you have at least 10 topics that I can rattle off the bat that you can write about. But it wasn't their time to write. So I had to go to the next person. Like my spiritual mother would say, next,
Yeah.
next,
Oh, there you
next.
go.
And
I
that's what I had to do until the deadline came and they were jumping in by the twos.
Yeah.
And
yeah
that's who was supposed to be there.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing. It's just to be open and to be flexible. You said something. I want to back up, and then we can segue back over to Michael. Was unmet expectancies. That's a grief
Yeah.
because you have a need, just like you said, with the father being more of an uncle than a
Mm-hmm.
father. That's
Sure.
an unmet expectancy. That's an
Mm-hmm.
unmet need, and that
Right.
is a grief. It's a
Mm-hmm.
loss,
Yeah.
Yes.
and you can even equate. Not having. I'll share and be very transparent. I witnessed. Now, I had a phenomenal relationship with my father,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother seeked my, and then we have the same dad, we have the same father, natural father, and my brother seeked for my father. He sought off to, and my dad had plenty of opportunity to get that right, but he never did
Mm-hmm.
before he passed away. And that broke my heart for my brother because
Yes.
as a parent, I know my kids need for for them to be at peace with me. They
Mm-hmm.
need to know that they have my love and they have my admiration. They have my support. They have all of that they need from me. I know that, and so to witness that was a heartbreak for me.
Sure.
But that was a need that went unmet, and it
Mm-hmm.
really, really affected my brother. I mean,
Yes.
real. I don't know how much he'll admit it, but
Mm-hmm.
it really, really had an adverse effect on my brother. Michael, you could chime in. What's on your mind at this moment? What are you thinking about? What did you hold on while we were talking?
Well, you guys are right on point with what you said. When you start talking about grief, it's a lot of times, people put grief in a box, and it's way beyond that. It's way beyond that, and especially with us men, because you ladies, you let your grief out. We we're not telling anybody anything.
Mm-hmm.
We're just it could be, we might tell our spouse, you know,
Maybe.
after they beat it out of
Hounds you.
us. We might tell our spouse, but other than that, that's about it. And that's part of the reason why there's a longevity issue between men and women, because when you hold it in all of that stuff, it's gonna affect something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gonna affect something. So writing this book really, really helped me um, put my thoughts on paper and put something out there that's tangible for people to be able to pick it up and read it and hopefully get healed from something.
Yeah. Whichever chapter they read that they can connect to. It is 14 different chapters in there, 14 different stories. There, the book is not for everybody, but
Right.
but there's a story in it for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
It's interesting. We have one of the viewers, and just he's just sharing his heart about just how men do not want to really be open in this area, and they need to just be encouraged. There needs to be two parts to this. It has to be where we help them.
Mm-hmm.
He gives a scripture on women are the helpmeet of the man, and we're here, and that's why
Right.
when they say men are from Mars and women are from
Women are from
Venus and all
Venus.
this other
Yeah.
craziness, no, we're both from Earth. I always like to kill. We're both from the planet Earth, and we can communicate, and we
Yeah.
can wrong. We
That's
have
good.
to cooperate, right? We have to cooperate
Yes.
with one another
That's good,
and
Marissa.
see the greater good. Because if we keep talking about we can't communicate, we're not the same, then we'll never be the same because that's what we
Yeah.
are focused on. But if we
Yeah.
begin to change the language and change the dialogue to say, you guys really need help, the men really need help, and we both need each other. Like it's
Right.
imperative we need each other, and that we're
Right.
okay with being vulnerable with each other, because the whole point of that is so that we can strengthen one another up. for
Right.
battles.
Yes.
The battle is outside the house, not inside the house.
Oh,
And
that's good.
so he says, you know, he really talks about how we need to help and we got to cooperate with one another. We got to
You,
Absolutely.
cooperate. So as we're
you know,
digging,
Marissa, if you any person that sees this book and you look at this book and you see all of these men on the back of this book,
love it.
okay, that's going to be inspiration enough for a man to pick it up and say, you know what, I think I can tell somebody about something. If these 14 men can put their thoughts on paper like this, I think I can do it too, or at least tell somebody about what's on my heart and what's on my mind. So this book right here is healing medicine. It
Yes.
really is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes, and our men need that. We need them to have that as women, as their children. Deborah, I see you were putting something together. Are you going to show us something?
What?
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were putting something together. Going to hold up the front cover of the book. So,
No.
Michael, hold up the front
Yeah.
cover of the book.
Well,
The front.
Michael did the back. I'll do the front. You
There,
know,
there you go.
grief through his eyes. Grief through his eyes. You know, and you know, it just there are so many things that you can get from the cover of this book based on your own thought. You know, when I look at this, I think it's the sun at first, but when you look at it, it is the eye. It is the
Yep,
eye.
I
It could
saw
be the eye of the Lord. It could be the man's eye. It is your own. The book gives you your own perspective of what it is that you see. Grief through his eyes, seeing grief from his point of view.
Yeah,
So it is all about the man, all about the man. And it you know, in this Amazon bestseller, it will help the women. If you are a woman that loves a man, you need to get this book because you have
absolutely.
14 authentic stories that will give you some insight, whether it's for you, whether it's for your daughter, whether it's for your sisters, whether it is for you to use with the men that you love to understand them better. But every woman, every man, boy, and girl needs to have this book.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the book is that you can journal in the book as well.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
everything that I create, I make it to where it's a keepsake. And you're able to journal through the book. And once you're done with it, you can put it down, and your 15-year-old daughter can pick that book up and see what daddy thinks about this particular subject or what his thoughts are. Or if a woman writes in the book, what my mother thinks about this man's thought. You know, so it is a teaching tool, is what it is. It is a coping skill tool. It is a teaching school tool. It is inspiration, it's motivation, it warms the heart, it tugs at the heart, and it gives you a clearer perspective of a man's point of view.
that is amazing. That is
Straight,
amazing. And you
straight from
said it. The
heaven.
book
Yeah,
is straight from heaven.
straight from
Yeah,
heaven. All
listen,
of it, straight from heaven.
and we need it, and we need more projects like that. So what they can get the book on Amazon. They can get the book from you. I have your
Hmm.
contact information that's going across their ticker line, so
Right.
folks can get and stay connected with you. Um,
Yes.
um, it's just really, really important for the message to get out there, and more
Right.
our men to open up and begin to speak because writing cuts both ways. It cuts and it heals for the writer as well as the reader.
That's good.
What goes in has to come out, right? So you have
Absolutely.
to get it out of your system if you really want to start being freed up from it and use it as your testimony. You know, you
Yeah,
go
that's
through a
good,
time
Marissa.
have a testimony.
Absolutely.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so they can get it on Amazon, but they can also get
Yes,
it directly from the authors,
that's right.
directly from the authors, which is amazing. What is the what's the next thing? Are you guys doing another book signing? Is it going to be a local book signing? What's happening?
Well, listen, all of the men are on fire, first of all. They're on fire. They are running amok in the neighborhoods. Okay? They're running
Oh,
amok. All, yeah, all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, one author just had a book signing at his church. someone had a book signing last Sunday. Somebody's in the bookstore. Somebody's in the mall. People are on their jobs in
Yeah.
the men's group. They are running amok all
Wow.
over the
Yeah. I can't
neighborhood,
keep. I can't even keep
because
up.
they are proud of their story, right? They're proud of their story, and they have so much support from people in their household, their friends. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. And down the road, we are going to do a volume two. I am going to do a volume two. I have close to 70 people that are waiting to get into the gate. But because I'm keeping a safe space around the 14 men that are already started, I haven't vetted through those folks yet. Some of them are women knocking on the door, wanting to get into the group. But it's a men's anthology, so I will not sprinkle them with the women. And a lot of
Right.
times people do that. They start off with men and then they open the gate. The women come in, and then the men back, and they're no longer feeling
Right.
vulnerable to be able to talk to one another. So, with
Right.
that being said, we are going to do a volume two. This is my birthday month, so I've been
Oh,
pressed.
happy
Yay! So I've been pressed to almost open up. The gate a little bit for to let some folks in with a special discount this month um
Oh,
for my birthday
oh,
month. So I will probably announce it probably later on this week as I solidified a little bit more with my coach and with my team before I let it out, because I want to make sure that it is going to run right when I do say yes, let's get it started, because I want to gather all of the men that want to get into this second one that's been knocking on the door for so long. I want to let them know that it's coming, and give them an earlier timeline to be able to write, to be able to turn it in, and to get it to our editor to get it going. So the great thing about this book is that the book cover is already done, because it'll be the same book cover,
that's important.
just with different men on the back. So when you're doing different volumes, you don't have to change the cover all the time if you don't want to. So yeah, so that's the next thing. And then of course we're doing speaking engagements and all sorts of things. And it is exciting to see the men out in front of the line and being proud about their stories. They were vulnerable in the beginning, but their vulnerability, God has blessed it with courage. He's blessed it
Yeah.
with resilience, and
Yes.
they are ready to share to the world. They're ready to share to the world.
Yeah, and it's so important because there's a few things that you hit on, and one of them is the fact that giving the men their space, they
Hmm.
need to have their space. They need to.
Yes.
You are so right about having that space, because a lot of times when you bring the men and the women together, there's some things that have gone on that has not been healed, and so the
Yes.
conversation goes from a place of discussion and being open to it becoming personal, and then it takes away from the healing process. So thank you so much for keeping that safe
Oh
space for them.
yes,
There's
absolutely.
always an opportunity to do grief for the women by
Oh
themselves,
yeah.
but to
Oh
keep
yeah.
the project, I think that just speaks to your leadership. It speaks to the fact that you really see them, and you see their
Yes.
heart, and
Yes.
you want to make sure that you protect that, and that's critical because this is a healing process.
Yes.
This is a healing process for them, and it makes them feel good. You got another one out here, and they're just they love you. You can see the comments that are in the comment
Oh,
thread.
thank you so
That they
much.
love and appreciate you. There's some shout outs of happy birthday. Vanessa Blackwell said,
Oh, thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. V. Listen, you
Yeah,
said Vanessa Blackwell. Vanessa Blackwell has been a tool and a blessing to all of us, right? I mean, a lot of things that I do, of course, I've learned from my coach. I don't want to downgrade my coach, Latrice Williams McKnight, other visionaries. But Vanessa Blackwell, man, I tell you, she answers all questions. She gives you all kinds of insight, and she just collaborates to the highest level, to the highest level. She's a no mess person, but she is love. She's direct, and she's such a sharer. So, as a visionary, taking on all of those good attributes that all of the visionaries have taught me, you're able to collect them all, use what they share with you, and make it your own, and add your own personality into it. So,
Yes,
Vanessa has been phenomenal. So, thank you so much for being up
yes,
here with us, Dr. V.
Vanessa. Yes, 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 she is Dr. B. So, and then another thing that you share, since we are in the author's corner, is you write a book, but now you got to talk about the book, right?
Yeah.
So authors have to shift their mind from thinking that they're just going to be authors, you're just going to write a book. But if
Hmm.
you really want to level up, you have got to be prepared to take center stage and own it, and speak and advocate about the work that you've written about, so that people
Absolutely.
can really get the full benefit of your body of work.
Right.
You don't want to be sitting on the shelf and no one knows you exist. You want to
Hmm.
be off the shelf. You want that
Hmm.
bestseller, keep going, keep that momentum running.
Right.
And one of the ways to do that is to do circuits. You got to do all of these circuits. Get online, get interviewed,
Hmm.
get in front of
Yeah.
people, talk about your book, make yourself available to the public. That's so critical. And Michael, I see you getting ready to jump out your seat. What do you want to say?
Okay, so what you said about getting out on those platforms, we as men, we put as much effort as we could into writing our chapter. But now she's got us out here talking. She's got us out here and standing on the diving board and over the deep end of the water. And we're going and we're just going along with the flow because she said,
Yes.
hey guys, uh in 2 weeks we're going to meet up somewhere. We're gonna sell our books and we're gonna talk in front of 200 people. And we're all looking at each other like, what?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're accustomed to doing that kind of.
Yeah. Before as I'm coaching them, I'm getting them prepared, right? I'm letting them know that before we're done with this project, you're going to have photo shoots. Because you need your own headshots. You're gonna need to have your own 2 minute elevator speech or whatever they call it. You're gonna need to I want you to have a taste of getting on podcasts, to get in magazines, to get on a billboard, which are I've been able to participate in all of those things with the different visionaries that I have come under and learned from. So I wanted to give the men who always they never get their due justice. So I wanted to give the men a good taste of everything, the graphics. I wanted to keep them out there looking good. I wanted to give them positive pictures that they can share all over. So, and I wanted it for them to have it at ease. So I wanted them to have a bite of all of their dinner plate. I wanted them to eat a little bit off of the entire plate, even those things that they did not want to do, but they all did it. And I am so proud of every one of them. I have fallen in love with every man, and I say that respectfully. Let me clear that up, because somebody will take that snippet and run with it. But I have done it respectfully with their wives' permission. And
Mhm.
we've had a fantastic time together. And it's going to God willing, it's going to happen for volume 2 as well. We're going to redo, and it's going to be even better, because I've learned some things not to do, and I've learned some things that do work. So, and a good coach, we tweak it as we go to make it the best experience for the next group.
Yeah, yeah. And the variable changes, because with each group the dynamics change. So
Right.
I love it. I love it when you're not doing the same exact thing over and over again.
Right.
Spice it up, have fun with it,
Yeah.
be flexible and open. to try new different things. Technology is changing, so there's going to be something else that you could be doing. So that's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. So, any closing thoughts? We're going to close it out. Can you believe we've only been on for an hour?
It's been phenomenal.
And it doesn't even feel like it has been
No,
phenomenal. For those of you who don't know, Deborah Frye is one of Own It magazine's contributing writers. And
right.
these gentlemen that we're talking about, all of these authors have been featured in the Own It magazine a couple of times. And
Yes.
their live interviews will be in the August issue of Own It. So we're really excited about having them. It's an honor. One thing about doing what I do is the fact that I get to meet some incredible and amazing people with incredible and amazing stories and beautiful perspectives. Thankful,
Mm-hmm.
grateful, appreciative, kind-hearted, generous, giving of themselves. And so it is an honor to have you on. And
Thank
like I
you.
said at the top of the hour, how critically important it is for couples to work together to support one another's visions unconditionally, and to see that together you succeed. And so like I said, was sing all day long. Was so excited to be able to come on live with you guys today. Just to see the beautiful pictures. I see you guys, you do the motorcycle thing, you get on your motorcycle. I be watching you. You don't think I know? I see you. I'm watching. So I get to see you dressed up all sexy and you ready to go on and take on the world. I'm like, check them out.
Oh my
You're beautiful
goodness.
to watch. You're
Thank
beautiful to
you.
watch.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for the light that you poured out together. You ministered to these men, and you took them to a place that no one else may have ever done that. No one else may have ever done that. God put it on your heart, and you said yes. And so I
Yes.
just want to say thank you so very much. It's such an honor. You guys. I'll start with you, Deborah. Your closing thoughts or remarks, and you could share with the people how to connect with you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here with you this evening and to be able to share. They can get in contact with me via my website, www.griefcareconsulting, griefcareconsulting.com. They can find me on Facebook, Deborah Fry. They can find me on IG, Grief Care Consulting, or Twitter, Grief C Consult, or inbox me, DM me, and any man that's out there, DM me and take a chance on yourself. If you have a story, let's talk about it, see if you'll be a good fit for the book, and we can talk about how you can invest in yourself, okay, and become a number one best-selling author. Because we are, with the hope of the Lord, with the will of the Lord, we're going to do this over and over and over again.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Michael, closing thoughts?
Right. Well, I am encouraging everyone to get this book. If you would like to get a copy from me, you can DM me as well. I am on Facebook, Michael Fry, and I will sign it, autograph it, send it to you if need be. But this is something that is necessary. If you love
Yes.
your significant other, you need to get this book. And I'll leave it right there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Great
It's
job, honey.
grief. Oh, grief through his eyes. This is an anthology of 14 amazing, incredible, compelling stories. They share their heart in regards to how they experienced their life experience. And so, um, Deborah Fry and Michael Fry. Deborah is the visionary author behind the project, and this is her husband who didn't count it robbery to just show up and show out for his wife. And we just really, really thank both of you. We can't wait to have you back again. We want you
Thank
to come
you.
back again
Thank
with volume 3, 5, 6, 7, 20. We want to have you back because we want our words to inspire others and lift them up to press through the mess to get to God's best. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out tonight. Thank you so very much. And we're looking forward to all the upcoming interviews. So stay tuned for the next show. You take care.
Thank
We're
you,
out.
guys. Bye bye.